Flying Casuals brought to you by Patreon supporters Brent, Kelly Breckner, Jory Webb, Wes Anderson, David Bush, and Nate Edison. May the Force be with you.
You're listening to Flying Casual, a Star Wars podcast. Here's your host, Michael Canterbury.
Flying Casual fam, another week in isolation. Holly,
Yes.
how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm superb.
Superb.
Luke, are you holding out in isolation? Are we your only form of outside contact?
You're most of it, yes.
Flattering.
It is. It's incredible how much you need outside interaction. I mean, family is great, but I mean, you long for interaction. Holly, you just said the other. I can't wait till we get to go to a bar with friends,
Yeah.
like a classy one. I don't know. I'm talking,
a dive bar.
A
whatever.
that may be what it comes to because we're in a recession. The dive bars need help too. Luke, am I right? I mean, it's not just those, those craft breweries that need the assistance here. We got some dives out here that need some help too.
Take all kinds.
Amen. They take all kinds. I think they would accept us,
You can have $2 well drinks all night. Whatever.
I mean, that used to be the thing. I used to go to the Woodlands back in the day in 2010. They had $2 beers, everything, craft, everything. It was fantastic. Those days are gone, I think. Maybe it's like a $4 drink now, but boy, those were the times. So, guys, I hope, if we are your only, source of outside entertainment, thank you for joining us. Hopefully this isn't all you're getting. I think we're a pretty entertaining group, but I mean, there are other forms of entertainment, but we're glad you're with us. I hope everyone is staying as safe as possible. I have a feeling, I know it's Easter, today, technically, we're recording. It's Easter Sunday for some of you that celebrate.
Why did you put Easter in quotes?
It was more so for where I was going with the topic. I don't know why I quoted Easter. Easter is a thing. It's a holiday.
Easter.
It's Easter here. Well, that was for those that maybe don't necessarily celebrate it. Okay, and those that do celebrate it, that's fantastic too. We accept everyone here.
But if you
at
Don't
Flying
celebrate
Casual.
it, then happy Sunday.
And if you don't celebrate, I'm going to air quote it for you. Easter. But, it's Easter Sunday. No, coronavirus has not gone away. I mean, is this an update for anyone? It's still here. We expected nothing different. So for those of you that maybe were hoping it was, said and gone by now,
Sorry about your luck.
Sorry about your luck. We got a long way to go still, but I'm hopeful that the end is in sight. At least the peak, that we all were trying to get to allow our emergency and health workers time to breathe, really, and treat this at less capacity, hopefully. So I hope I can see the light, I hope. Whoa, that sounded...
Are you dying?
Really cryptic. No, maybe.
First it's Easter, then
Easter.
you see the light.
Did I watch 12 hours of House Hunters yesterday? Yes, I did, Holly.
Today, probably.
Today. Was it? I have lost all sense of time. A lot of House Hunters in this house. So that's what's been going on. Chip and Joanna Gaines have been keeping us going.
That's Fixer Upper.
Wait, what was I saying?
House
House Hunters. Jesus. So Fixer Upper was yesterday. That's what I was thinking. Everyone's like, God, did this guy watch Fixer Upper? Yes, I did. I was a big fan.
Does he know anything?
But yesterday was a big Fixer Upper day, Holly.
Was
it was? Was that not yesterday? Am I missing something?
Time is a flat circle.
Wow. It's like we're talking about Earth or something. No, we did watch Fixer Upper yesterday. A lot of House Hunters today. A lot of Hulu watching. So I've got construction on the mind, but there's still some Star Wars left, Holly. Still some Star Wars to talk about. I know you guys hopefully are caught up on the latest episode of Clone Wars. Anybody recall the title? This is 2 weeks in a row. I don't have it.
I don't remember.
Nada. It wasn't.
I just had it pulled up. Together Again.
Together
Yes.
Again. A great title. So hopefully you're caught up on that, guys. We are going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the first installment of the new Vader comic line. And boy, it was an enjoyable one. I was a huge fan of the prior lines, and this one so far does not disappoint. I will say the cover of the first issue when it came out captivated me immediately. I love the artwork. I love seeing Death Troopers there with Vader. It was fantastic. So I'm glad we're a couple weeks behind on it, but we got to sink our teeth into that first issue. I think you guys, if you're going to check it out, you'll thoroughly enjoy it. We'll try to recap it for you and talk about it a little bit here. But before any of that, Holly, I got to start. Now that you got me off my game, calling me out. Mike doesn't know home entertainment or home improvement shows. He knows home entertainment. That sounded somewhat pornographic. I don't know why, but it
He's on a
felt
roll
dirty.
tonight.
It felt dirty. Home improvement entertainment, but also home entertainment. I feel like we need to do something fun. Get me back. English isn't my strength either, so maybe an issue of Mad Libs wouldn't be the best, but it feels right now.
So you want the Mad Libs?
I want the Mad Libs, even if it knocks me out cold. Do you have an issue ready?
Yes, I do.
Luke, are you down for another installment of Mad Libs Star Wars?
I always am.
Let's do it, guys. Holly, what are we working with here?
Dressing as Darth Vader.
Wow.
I just figured it was appropriate because we read the
Well,
Darth Vader line.
Here's the thing. It doesn't seem like it would be that complicated, but I'm sure it is.
We'll find out.
I mean, he has to get ready every day, right? He has to go into the... Yes. Did you see Rogue One? He has to go into the Bacta tank, probably naked, I presume, unless he's got a loincloth on or something. Gets dipped in it.
He's got the diaper like Luke in the Empire.
Yeah, exactly. So he starts from a diaper, and he doesn't have these limbs, right? So, I mean, he has to get dressed every day, and it's much more difficult than you and I just going in the closet.
Does he get placed in the Bacta tank with a crane?
Oh, yeah.
Like Palpatine crane?
That it does appear there's a running theme there. Yes.
Okay.
Somewhat of a crane. Yeah, unless he has handlers that were dipping him in there, but I doubt it.
Not a fan of that idea.
I mean, I would pay to see it. But anyway.
That's your home entertainment.
So we're... Yes, pornography with the Star Wars flair.
And a Bacta tank.
In a Bacta tank. God knows what kind of electronics you're going to find on that set. Phrasing
Yeah.
of some sort.
Some sort.
Holly, we're getting dressed as Darth Vader today. What do you have?
Okay, you guys remember the rules.
Yeah.
I ask for a type of word, and you give it to me.
And I'm hoping, along with some of our listeners, we're going to need a refresher on what some of these things are, purely for everyone else. Obviously, I know what I'm talking about here, but we'll let Luke start off, Holly, so go ahead.
Okay, well, Luke, let's start with an adverb.
Oh, Jesus, glad he went first.
That's a tough one to start off with.
I know.
An
So it-
adverb.
Yeah, so usually ends in ly, Michael.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good refresher for Luke.
Describes a verb.
Quietly.
Perfect.
That's the only thing I can come up with.
I can only imagine him getting dressed isn't quiet, but
Who knows?
well, when
There's
you're
not
in
a
the
lot
home
of-
entertainment industry,
There's
Holly,
not a
it's
lot
not
of
quiet.
limbs to rustle around.
Wow, more home entertainment references. Continue.
A noun. That's a person, place, or thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to continue with our theme, zucchini.
Oh.
Hello. Zucchini in a Bacta tank. I should have said Bacta tank, but no, zucchini.
Okay. Luke. Yeah. That's not a limb. You know that, right? Okay.
Zucchini. Depends on who you're asking. Go ahead.
Anyway, a part of the body, plural.
Jesus. Oh, I know.
Oh.
No, he's going to surprise us and be very mature. Watch him
Yeah,
say
I got to
this.
go with
Zucchinis.
elbows.
Ooh.
All right. Michael,
I was going to say huevos, but
do you want me to put that down? Because you have the same thing next.
it's a noun.
No, it's a part of the body.
Oh,
plural.
yeah. Yeah, let's say huevos.
Well, it fits.
For those of you who don't speak Spanish, Holly, it was correct, and that's eggs?
Yeah.
Eggs.
Perfect. Nailed it.
Sure.
And I took French, so that's That's awesome for
Colloquially, it's not eggs, but we'll move on.
me. Ooh, yes. Colloquial talk with Holly Walton.
Colloquial with Holly Walton. Okay.
That's a sub podcast in this network. Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
Luke, I need a noun.
Toilet paper.
That is in high demand and out of stock.
Are we hitting anything right here, Holly? Hopefully.
That's something.
Okay.
Okay, Michael, an adjective that describes a noun.
Describes a noun. Can I say muscular? Mm-hmm. Or no? Is that
Yep.
that works? Okay. Okay.
Okay, Luke.
Muscular huevos.
Muscular huevos. Okay, I need another noun.
Another noun. Squirrel.
Perfect.
Holly, is it getting too dirty? I mean, if at any point you just need to cut it off
Isn't that the point,
for the
though?
kids. Yeah, but I want to. Yeah, you're right. This isn't.
This is
Nickelodeon.
It's not a Disney. Well, it's a.
It is, and I would love to be approved by them at some point, and I would hope that they would understand. Some of this fun is for the adults too. Go ahead.
Disney movies. Let me be clear.
Yes.
The animated Disney movies have a
Oh,
lot of adult
raunchy as all
humor.
get out. Yeah. So I feel like that should be okay, right?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, I need an adjective.
Jeezy Pete's.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. No.
Describes.
Swiftly.
That's an
adverb.
Adverb. Swift
Smooth.
would be
Smooth is
An
good
adjective.
too. Swift is an adjective. Smooth is an adjective. Do you have a preference?
Smooth.
Okay. Well, that's even better.
Hoping that goes into the same sentence as swivels, but
It doesn't. But Luke, adjective.
sensual.
ooh.
I like it.
I can't wait to get crap from the folks in the group. For Mike doesn't know. I never claimed to be an English specialist here, folks. But
Michael,
yeah.
another plural part of the body.
Oh, jeez, Pete. Toes.
Perfect.
I don't
Sorry.
want it to be too perfect. Is that too perfect?
I've said perfect after every word. You don't know if
You
it's
don't
perfect
care.
or not.
Holly's just like, how do we
Yeah,
get through this
whatever.
episode?
Congratulating you for
What happens-
knowing what
A
toes
body
are.
part
He
is.
knows. I have to
so
sidebar
funny.
right now.
Yes.
Chewy is laying underneath the table, but he has his head on the table leg, so it's
Poor
upright.
guy. That's because he doesn't have a bed in here. Poor guy.
I'll have to take a picture
rug
when I'm
will
done
do.
with this. And
We'll
put it
go to
on
we could go to the
put it
Chewy
in the
cam
group.
if we had enough cameras. But
We don't, but people did insist that we do the Chewy cam more.
you know what? I'll use the magic of post production and throw one in here right now. You
Perfect.
can see Chewy just hanging out.
See what he's doing. It probably
I'll
won't
probably
be
I'll probably
what I
forget
described.
to do it. Yeah, it'll be something. It'll be him running, and he'll be like, "Wait, that's not him laying down."
All right. Next, I need a plural noun.
Is that from Luke?
Who's up? Yeah, am I
Yeah,
up?
it's Luke.
Yep.
Plural noun. Minox.
Ooh.
I might have used that one in another ad little, but it's always good.
I love the Star Wars reference. Also, can we change huevos to sukas? Right? I'm not doing anything Star Wars.
Zukas. Yeah,
We'll use
that's a good
whatever
idea.
fits better. Holly
I'm
can
just
feel.
gonna do. I mean,
We'll see.
okay.
We may change it. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need a verb ending in ing. That's like running, floating, swimming, jogging.
Grunting.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded like a good one. That was a mm-hmm. You guys heard it here in your earlobes.
All right, Luke, I need an adjective.
Wait, isn't the lobe
Shiny.
the hangy thing on your ear? I got that wrong.
Isn't that what?
Isn't the earlobe your
Yeah.
yeah, so that doesn't make any sense. Once again, no, I'm not an anatomy specialist. I just do home entertainment.
Anatomy specialist.
Go ahead.
A doctor.
Sure, yeah.
All right. I need another body part.
There are so many.
Not for Darth Vader.
Oh, wow. That was That was really funny, Holly. I give you that one. I was late to the joke. I didn't understand it at first, and it all made sense
you.
there. Another it doesn't have to be a human.
It doesn't. It just has to be.
Oh, we didn't already say. We've said elbow in the past.
Yeah,
It's
Luke
like I
said
don't
it.
know that many limbs.
It doesn't have to
and
be a
or
limb.
body,
It just
other
has to
body
be a body
parts.
part.
I'm looking at myself. I'm like, what's
What's going on here?
Can we say butt cheek?
Yeah?
Perfect.
Is that what you want?
I don't know. That tells me it doesn't fit well. I mean, where's butt cheek gonna fit well anyway?
We're moving on.
Cool.
Luke, give me an adjective.
Oh, adjective.
It's a long one. Phrasing.
We're just taking our time.
Yes.
Hairy.
Ooh.
Gross. Michael, give me another adjective.
Another adjective. Smelly.
Okay, Luke, we're going with the same theme. One more adjective.
Ooh.
Sweaty.
Ew. Gross.
It
Okay.
just naturally follows.
I
It's gonna
know,
be a
it
good
did.
ending. I love it.
Okay, Michael, plural
Phrasing.
noun. Wow.
Jawas.
Okay. Ew.
Oh, here we go. It's going to be a good one, guys. Stick around if you haven't left already.
All right, Luke, last but not least, an adjective.
It's got to seal the deal.
Has to.
Phrasing. What is happening on this episode? The suspense
It's
is
exhausted, an adverb. Or could that be an adjective?
If it ends in ing, it can be an adjective.
building. Is that like a hard
Exhausting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Exhausting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sexual
All right.
story here with Vader dressing. Holly, remind me the title of this Mad Lib again.
Yes, dressing as Darth Vader.
Dressing as Darth Vader, a promiscuous Vader, I'm sensing.
We don't know if it is actually Darth Vader
What does he
or
wear in his
if
quarters?
it's Michael dressing as Darth Vader.
Yeah, it'd probably something a
Promiscuously.
little low cut, a little above the knee action, I would assume.
It's not very ladylike, but
That's okay. I
all
dabble.
right. Well,
Dabble in the dark,
here we
Holly.
go. All right.
Oh, God.
Ew.
I should have
Okay.
a drum roll.
All right. Ever since he was quietly burned on the Mustafar zucchini system,
It wasn't quietly.
it sure wasn't, losing his elbows and his huevos, also known as sukas, Darth Vader has been more machine than toilet paper. Aren't we all?
I mean, amen.
And each day he must don a muscular suit of armor in order to survive. First,
That's true.
I mean,
That
is
fits
it?
well. Yeah.
First, Darth Vader must wear a black leather squirrel that covers his entire smooth body. Next, he puts a long and sensual cape around his neck and covers his toes with a pair of Minox.
Ooh. It
Fine.
might be. We don't know.
I mean, who even
We
knows?
don't know.
Finally, he must always have a grunting mask over his face and
Yeah.
a shiny helmet on top of his butt cheek.
You don't really know what's going on back there, so it could be.
It's under the cape,
Yeah.
the sensual one.
Hello.
If all of that wasn't hairy enough,
Ooh.
great use of hairy,
Yes.
Darth Vader can only remove his smelly gear in a sweaty chamber filled with pressurized Jawas.
That makes no sense.
No. And you thought it was exhausting getting dressed every morning.
Oh, well, I can imagine. Yeah, you have pressurized Jawas. You're putting on Minox boots.
You're in a hairy situation.
I mean, yeah, with Asuka, it seems like you would be.
Also, where does one get a leather squirrel?
Well, yeah, you gotta, you gotta
You
skin
tan it,
Yeah, you
you
skin
know,
that
you hang
thing,
it out.
tan it. Yeah, just like they did back in the day. Or maybe they still do. I have no idea. Once again, Holly, I'm not a tanning, professional. But well, that was fun. A very unique take on Vader dressing.
It
in
might
the
be
morning.
the side of Vader that we see in the new comic line.
It could be. That's a nice transition. I'll say I would love a fun kind of, comic or whatever animated series about Vader getting dressed in the morning. I'd love to see that.
You know what I would like?
Make him seem a little vulnerable. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But like, I would like a nice, fun comic of Vader doing things
Stand
like
up.
bowling.
Bowling. Wow. You really want him to seem relatable, don't you?
Or playing pinball.
Playing pinball. There are some nice YouTube videos out there of cosplayers doing that.
It's not actual Vader.
But
though.
it's not Disney approved. But so that would be a much different Vader, Holly, than who we got in the new Vader line. So nice transition there, Holly. Guys, this is something I was looking forward to very much so. We have been digging into a lot of comics here lately, and that's just, something we want to do. But I encourage you guys, maybe aren't really into reading the comics, go out and pick some of these up. We can help lead you, to really good lines. Because there isn't a ton of Star Wars content right now, and these comics lately are pretty darn good. So you can trust, with the past Vader lines, that this is going to be a good one. It's not going to disappoint. And so far with issue 1, I mean, I'm intrigued.
You're hooked.
I think I am, and so we immediately, we start out with Luke learning that Darth Vader is his father. Right? It's a flashback. And Luke gets away. But Vader's going through these memories, right? And it's cool when they do flashbacks of Vader's memories. They're all in red, and I love it. It's just like it's all this badness that has put him where he is now, and it's all in red. I love it. So Luke gets away, right? He loses his hand, but he gets away, and we see the Millennium Falcon fly by, and they get away. It's great. And it's Piet, right? I think Admiral Piet's there.
Admiral Piet.
At the helm, and he says, Vader, the Falcons got away, or the Skywalkers got away. And all of a sudden, Vader now is getting hailed by the Emperor. It's like the Emperor knows that he failed. Vader takes off, right? He takes a droid, he takes 3 Death Troopers, and he's like, I have my own mission I'm going to go do. Doesn't tell anyone where he's going, I don't believe, right?
He dips out.
Dips out, which I think is great because you don't necessarily expect that. And the droid's like, where are we going to find the boy or whatever? And he says, when the time's right, but I'm going to go find who has been hiding him from me this whole time, which is fantastic. So we go back to Tatooine, right? They I can't remember how the droid figures it out, but he goes through data that he has or whatever and figures out that's where Luke Skywalker came from, all this good stuff. And we just really get a lot of flashbacks once we get to Tatooine of Vader remembering the time and the Lars home, I guess wasn't really the Lars home, but his time with Padme, and you see Luke's little I think you have a T-16.
16.
Yeah, you see that, and it's what I loved is they have this droid with Vader the whole time. It's just him and the droid going through the old Lars homestead, and the droid really acts as the narrator of the past, right? And I think that's great because he's curious about what they're looking at, and he's kind of just narrating along so Vader doesn't have to. But you see these flashbacks that Vader's having of Padme and losing his mother and all this stuff. And I love that even some of the imagery shows everything from Vader's actual perspective or Anakin's perspective. You see his hands out like fixing things or, burying his parents. Like it's or his mother, not his parents. But it's just, I don't know, it was really effective for me. And the droid I thought was a nice touch. He gets annoying a little at times, but I thought it was nice that he's there to narrate kind of the past and summarize why we're there and what he's looking at. And so, Holly, I want to come to you. We're not all the way through the summary, but what do you like? You haven't read a Vader issue yet.
Not ever.
But Vader's out, doing a little side mission.
Yeah. I think the first thing that I thought, because I think the last comic line that we were reading was we saw it from Luke's perspective right after his hand gets cut off when him and Vader have this confrontation, and we see what Luke is doing at the same time.
Yeah,
So now it's
awesome.
just funny to me at the same time. I am reading this and I'm like, okay, well, I know what Luke and Leia and Lando are doing right now.
Yeah.
So we get to see kind of what Vader is doing on the other side too, because we know all of these events are transpiring within a few days of that initial confrontation.
Absolutely.
So I kind of like that because I think it lined up really well with what we're reading in the current comics that are coming out about Luke too.
Yeah, it's what I enjoyed about the second Vader line that wrapped up not that long ago, but seeing how complicated things are for Vader, because it didn't just, as much as it seems like Anakin just flipped a switch, like I love that the comics are kind of fleshing that out a little more, that he still struggles with this and he wants answers. How did this happen? I assumed the children died with Padme. Or is she really dead? I know there's a whole Vader Immortal series with VR stuff that I would love to dig into. Honestly, I can't afford that stuff right now, but I'm probably going to watch some of that story and learn a little more about it. But I know he has a plan to try to bring Padme back, right? That was the whole point of turning in the first place, is to save the ones you love. So I love that we're getting just more in-depth, with him and seeing him, a little vulnerable at times. But Luke, what do you think so far?
Well, I'm going to take my perspective a little bit outside of the story itself real quick.
Yeah.
Kind of pull back the curtain, so to speak, and talk about my experience with this comic. Mike gave me a little late notice that it was a topic for tonight's podcast, so I got my hands on it very recently and dug into it.
Very fresh, though.
Very fresh, very fresh. And I'm so glad that you made it a topic and you pushed me to do it tonight, because I've been working my way through the Marvel Unlimited app.
Yeah.
I bought access to that in January, and I've been just tearing through stuff. I read the first Vader line, and I just started the second one. And so I was going to wait to do this one. And then, obviously, like I said, you prompted it for tonight's discussion. And I'm glad you did, because, whoa, blew me away. This thing is a Star Wars love letter.
Yeah.
The team putting this thing together, writing this thing, drawing it, their Star Wars passion, their Star Wars knowledge, their Star Wars devotion just like shows through in the way that they present this story. And it was so powerful and like meaningful to read through it, because it's tying all of Star Wars canon together up to this point. Because like you were talking about, it takes place basically right after Empire, like the new mainline does, that we talked a little bit about too. So it's nice that it's together with that timeline right now, with those issues coming out around this time too. And to see all the pain that's still inside of Vader, and him experiencing the memories of his family and things that he's lost. And we've been talking a lot about echoes in recent episodes.
Yeah.
Star Wars echoes, and it's beautifully shown how Vader keeps making the same mistake with his family.
Yeah.
He, to Padme, says in Revenge of the Sith, I can overthrow Palpatine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can overthrow the Chancellor. I'm stronger than him. We can rule together. Rule with me. And she rejects it.
She does.
Luke comes around, his son. He makes the same mistake. He makes the same offer.
Yeah.
Verbatim.
Says, we can overthrow the Emperor. He's foreseen you will destroy him.
Yeah.
Join me. We will rule. And again he gets rejected. It's a beautiful echo. And there's an image in the comic book where it shows, first Luke falling away from him in Empire, when he says, I'm not going to join you. I'm going to fall down this pit in Bespin. And the image of Luke turns to Shmi, and then it turns to Padme.
Yeah.
Like these people who wouldn't follow him down his dark side path. It's like I said, it's just such a like passionate love letter to the Star Wars saga, and I think highlights how beautifully George put a lot of the story of 1 through 6 together.
I was gonna bring that same imagery up. It was so effective, and it doesn't even stop there. So it goes, like Luke mentioned, it starts with an image of Luke, and it's we're looking at the past, so it's all with the red hue. You see Luke falling down the shaft after he loses his hand, and then in the same position going down that shaft is his mother Shmi, and the same position down that shaft is Padme. And then we go to a color image of Vader and him staring down at them. And then at the bottom of the page, it just has a red little, where typically artwork would be, it's just a red box. And to me, that's almost just like, after he lost them, it's just nothingness. I thought that was so effective, because it seems like, hey, why isn't there anything there? It's just a red box. Like, I lost my son. I lost my mother. I lost the love of my life, and now I have nothing. And I think we're going to, and when we do in this issue, we're going to see him coming to terms with that, and all he has is pain at this point, right? And it's something that we see him, and when he's going through these flashbacks of confronting his son and saying, "You join me, like the Emperor's foreseen it. You're going to overthrow him." We get these flashbacks and those quotes, but then we get little thoughts in Vader's head. And he's like, "You're powerful. You're strong," or whatever. And he says, "but also weak." And that's why he failed to beat him in that moment. And so his whole point of going back and finding those that were hiding his son from him the whole time is to punish them for making him weak. He's a Skywalker, damn it. He has my blood. And I'm going to go punish those who kept him from me, because I could have made him strong. And that's another one of his failures. And I love that Luke brought out all these failures of Vader's, and they're often the same thing. This was another of his failures, because no, he wouldn't have been stronger. He's actually stronger because he was not with you in the moment. And him finding out all this later in life drew him to compassion and forgiveness, and that overcame the pain and the fear of all that he could have had or all that he had lost. And so Vader's failure is so eminent in this issue, and I love it. And I love all the flashbacks. Like, it's so fantastic. We all know the story, but it's so impactful when you're seeing it from Darth Vader's perspective. You're not seeing it from Anakin. It's Darth Vader, this menacing character who just needs a red lightsaber and a lot of force, and he can really whoop some ass. But he's vulnerable too, and that comes out when we see these what are they, pirates, I guess, that they see this, they see the Vader shuttle with the Death Troopers coming to Tatooine. They see it and they're like, huh, that looks like an easy snatch. Let's hit this up. I'm sure there's some credits in there we can get or whatever, and you're just like, oh my God, like. Holly immediately said, like, where these guys just, they don't even know what's about to happen to them. And like, Vader's going to Tatooine. There's going to be a lot of darkness there with him. And whoever's on the end of that is in for a hurt. And that's exactly what happens. These guys, he leaves the Lars homestead, going back to his shuttle, and it gets blown up by these pirates. And they're just like, "Hey, we got it. That was easy. Like, let's go collect or whatever." And out from the flames is Vader. And they're just like, "That's impossible."
But it's not.
And it reminded me, I know Luke Skywalker was merely projecting himself on Crate, but it was just the imagery itself and knowing that he's a Skywalker there coming out of the flames. It just reminded me of Luke in that moment too. And so he wrecks those guys, right? And the droid has a lot of comical moments, and that's what's great. This droid is bringing like a C-3PO a comedic side to this story, because it's Vader, it's serious, but you're getting that fun Star Wars side. And he's like, apparently we're just gonna stand here in this fire. Cool, okay. Like, I can't remember exactly what he says, but it's really comical.
It's when the ship's coming in, and he's like, "I think that maybe we should," because he's trying to get him to move.
Yeah.
Like, "I think that maybe we should." Okay, standing here is fine too.
Stand here. Yeah, I thought that was really great. So he destroys these guys, and then if I recall correctly, guys, we end up in this apartment that's locked up, and he lands on this landing strip or whatever, and you see this face, this. It almost looked like I don't even know what do you call it, like a memorial or something, or something with someone's face on the outside of this building. And I was like, that looks like Padme's face. And sure enough, he busts through the thing, and we're in Padme's apartment on Coruscant. And they're looking for evidence of something, whoever was hiding the children or whatever, the child, he thinks right now. And we find a little chip, right, of some sort that's tracking the room or something. They're monitoring the apartment for some reason. And so they trace that to, Exabana. Do you guys remember what the title of the name of the planet
something
was?
like Vendaxa.
Yeah.
Vendaxa, yeah. Some strange planet. And I'm like, why are we here? And there's these giant squid-like monster things. I don't even know what they are. And Vader busts through and I don't know if he destroys them. Do you guys even recall how this ends? I don't remember how this ends. It was so random.
Yeah, was that real time, Luke? Like, was that actually happening? Because it didn't seem like it was a flashback, but then all of a sudden we're back in Padme's apartment.
Well, I cheated a little bit because I've started issue 2, so I can confirm that scene that we see at the end. So like Mike was talking about, the memorial of Padme's face is they sealed up her apartment on Coruscant after she died.
That's right.
And so Vader breaks that open to go investigate her apartment, try to find clues about sort of what happened after her death, or what happened after the events on Mustafar, when he last saw her, and that leads him. There's a clue that leads him to this other planet, Vendaxa, and so the next scene is him on the planet, looking for the next lead in the investigation, and he comes across a woman there who is the spitting image of Padme, and that's the last image of this issue.
Yeah, and I love Vader just says what when he turns, and I think he says Padme, right? He's like, Padme, and it's an image of what appears to be Padme. Now, for a second, I was like, wait, what? And Holly goes, I bet it's it's one of her handmaidens. And that makes the most sense. And like Luke said, he's a little ahead right now, and he confirmed it is in fact one of Padme's handmaidens. And Luke, remind me of the name.
Sabe.
So
it is Keira Knightley's character in Phantom Menace, and she appears in the novel Queen's Shadow, if you're familiar with that.
Absolutely. It's tying together. We knew she was going to go out and do something big. It was in her soul. She wanted to do right by the Queen, and really strong character in Queen's Shadow. And that's another, I could suggest every single Star Wars book for you, Holly. There's value in all of them.
We unpacked all of them today.
We did. There was a lot of unpacking going on.
There were like 12 boxes of Star Wars books.
Lots of Star Wars stuff. So much stuff. So I'm really glad we're seeing Sabe's return, and I think we should expect probably more from her in a follow-up to Queen Shadow, but really cool that we're getting her here. I can't wait to unpack that second issue. But so some really cool stuff, guys. I mean, whenever we're in Vader's head, I love it. I thought it's so effective. The Obi-Wan stuff and the Emperor stuff from the last issue, and now Luke, and I can't wait till we actually get to a point where we're looking for them, because that's where it's gonna go. Maybe at least, I don't know. Maybe it won't.
I thought, I asked Michael this when we were reading it, because he was like, I need to track down who took this child away from me. Yeah. And I was like, so he's going to find Obi-Wan, or he's going to try to find Obi-Wan.
Well, at this point, Obi-Wan's gone. Remember episode 4?
Right.
Sacrifices himself. But you got to think, there was more to it.
He's going to retrace
exactly
all of those footsteps, which is why they come to Tatooine first, which is why that droid said, we need to go to the place where it all started.
Exactly. He knew Obi-Wan was involved, but there's a bigger plot here. And if they're hiding Luke, what else were they doing? Or who else was involved? So it was really, really great stuff. And I love that we're just getting more time with Vader. This kind of stuff, I think, could be an effective television series. That's just me. That's just me.
I think something I liked about the comic is that when he was having all of his flashbacks, we weren't just seeing flashbacks of him and Padme.
Yeah.
We also saw flashbacks of other characters. Like we saw a flashback of Yoda, but I liked the juxtaposition they did of him being with Shmi and telling her that he killed all the Tusken Raiders, and she made her comment to him about, like, what does she say? Like to hate is to be human.
human.
And then immediately after that, he had a flashback of Yoda telling him, hate leads to anger.
That's right.
And then after he has those flashbacks is when he really starts to get more violent and more angry in the comic.
Yeah.
And it's just like having those flashbacks happen when he gets to Tatooine, just like hurt him more than give him any answers. Like it's not the answer that he's looking for. And so he starts to act more like the Vader that we assume he will be.
Well, and he certainly isn't letting the past die, right? I mean, that's something Kylo really adopted. And you got to think that, he tells Rey that in The Force Awakens. And that's, if he truly was, hearing Vader, which we now know was the Emperor, a lot of that, you would think letting the past die would have been something he would have learned. But we obviously know that was the Emperor kind of manipulating Kylo, or Ben Solo, that is. I love what you're saying, though, how it is even that moment where Padme says, to hate is to be human or whatever. Padme says that, right? When he says, I hate them, the Sand People.
Oh, yeah,
the Tusken Raiders that killed his mother.
You're correct.
And he's like fixing things. Like there's so many human elements to Anakin that are now gone in Vader, and it's very tragic. And it's also really sad that, like, when you take, Padme saying to hate is to be human, directly then to Yoda saying hate, leads to whatever.
Anger.
Like, it's such a difference. And this is one person hearing all these things from people he should trust. He should trust the person that he loves. He should also trust his master. And he's getting conflicting, ideology or whatever. And it's so tragic. It's so tragic.
Well, but also kind of like Luke was saying, when, he reaches out and he asks Padme and Luke the same question and he gets rejected each time.
Yeah.
There's also some tragedy there where then he continues to seek somebody or answers about that instead of, he's not able to reflect in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all, I don't know. He's still convinced, though, that, and this shows how much he's actually, because in the last Vader line, right, when we come from episode 3, you don't hear him talking about, like, pain and anger, and that's what leads to power. Like, he's done some growing since that line to where we are now, post episode 5. Like, it's incredible. So his whole thing in this issue is, my son is weak, and if he were with me, he wouldn't have been that way, and I'm going to find out why he was brought up this way. So it's crazy stuff, and we get some of that really awesome, just powerful Vader. We see him, moving mounds of earth with just the Force, and bringing down that ship with his hands, and really awesome stuff that we got in Vader in the video games that you really don't see in television. Now, we did in Rogue One, obviously, but I thought it was just really great, and that was a great start to this line. I'm so excited. Luke, any other thoughts about this? Are you glad that I hit you up 20 minutes before we shoot to say, hey, you mind knocking this one out really quick?
Yeah, I just had so much fun with a lot of the little tie-ins, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about, as the canon continues to develop and we go back to time periods that originated so long ago. We're dealing with the days following Empire Strikes Back. So we're going back to a story that was created in 1980.
Yeah.
But now they're peppering in other bits of canon that developed later.
Yeah.
With it, and it's really beautiful and fun to see it. Like, it's funny because I just watched like 40 minutes of Rogue One last night, trying to kind of prep for the big showdown coming with Jory and Brent, and the Death Troopers are such an iconic part of that movie, probably one of the best, if not the best, like trooper design.
Yes.
And it comes out in this anthology movie, in the Disney era, and now they're able to, take those troopers and they put them in Rebels.
Yeah.
And then they're putting him in this comic as hanging out with Vader and accompanying Vader on missions, which we obviously never saw in the original trilogy. But it's nice now to say, like, oh yeah, of course he hung out with some Death Troopers from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And another small little bit like that I really enjoyed was Masameda is a character that me and my friends like to talk about because it's a really like interesting design, and he has some kind of funny facial expressions in the prequels if you really pay attention to him. And he, for people who aren't familiar with the name, he's the blue-skinned guy with the big horns. That's kind of Palpatine's like second-hand, right-hand person.
Yeah.
You see him there in the Senate chamber with him and things like that. And we know from the Aftermath books that he stuck around through the Civil War era, the original trilogy era, and is actually around post Jedi even. So again, it makes sense that he would be around during all these events. So at the beginning, when you see the Emperor try to get in contact with Vader as he's leaving Cloud City, it's Masameda reaching out for him to try to establish that contact. And so it's just like, it's a small little thing like that that I really enjoy, that kind of ties in all these various elements of the canon that continues to develop in books and comics and shows.
I love that you brought up our second favorite blue-skinned character in Star Wars, Thrawn being number one. But something else, like he could probably have his own story alone. If you're the Emperor, well, I mean, not the Chancellor's right-hand man, Valorum, before even, Palpatine, you're in power that long, there's a story to be told there, my friend. Like, and I feel like it could, you could do it without jeopardizing any canon material. Like, what kept him around so long? What things was he doing behind the Emperor's back? Maybe that were just kind of self-serving, but kept him around a long time. I think he's such a undervalued character so far. I would be intrigued to see more of that political side of Coruscant and the not so much the underworld, but like the really dark stuff that we see in the new Thrawn series from Timothy Zahn, and what's going on there. So I'm glad you really brought him up because he's an undervalued character in my opinion.
I do have to say, when we were reading the comics, and I think that there was a panel where the Death Troopers were talking, but they weren't like real words in the bubbles.
Good.
And I was like trying to read it, but it was on the iPad and it was like over Michael's shoulder. And I was like, can you like turn that?
Blurry?
I was like, I can't even read what they're saying. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, that's the point.
Just
that,
going,
you can't understand him in the movie. But then later, the Death Troopers are trying to talk when he lands on
Tatooine.
It was Tatooine, yeah.
Yep.
Now I'm getting all the planets mixed up. But he lands on Tatooine and he, is met there, and then they're trying to talk to the Death Troopers, and he's like, "What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that."
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Yeah, that was really good. Now we just watched the episode of Rebels with the Kyber crystal, right, and it's being protected by Death Troopers, and it was really unfortunate. I know they needed to speak to kind of explain what was going on, but I was really kind of bummed that they didn't just have them kind of because I think it's so effective. They definitely had a tone that tried to show you it's the same characters. But no, it's so nice seeing them just not serving Director Krennic, right, and they're actually helping out in other areas of the Empire. But it was just what a great issue. And one other thing I wanted to bring up: do you guys recall when Palpatine is hailing Vader, right? And Admiral Piet says, I regret to inform you, sir, that the Lord Vader's not here right now. And I don't know where he's going. He says something, and
he says he's like unavailable.
And Palpatine just laughs.
He's like, oh, is he now?
And I love it because I think that explains a lot. I think Palpatine knows exactly what he's doing, and he's letting him go because he knows that those reminders and that past is just going to fuel that fire even more that he has lit in Vader, and he'll be even that much more powerful of an ally in the battles to come. I thought it was a very short moment, but to me, it was very effective.
Well, Palpatine has been able to predict Vader's and Anakin's behavior through most of this, right?
Exactly,
And so he's just playing his cards, you know?
Well, and I'll be honest, I thought we were directly going to start saying, hey, let's go look for those rebels, right? Because that's ultimately what's going to happen. But I don't know. He's going and trying to figure out and punish whoever was hiding him the whole time. And it was really funny because when they first got to Tatooine, the droid said, well, there's no one here. It looks like you can't punish anyone. I was like, I will. It may be you, droid. So that little droid was a lot of fun. So anything else about that comic line?
I don't think so.
It was really good, guys. If you haven't checked it out, they're only 2 issues deep right now. It's a good time to jump in and learn a little, sometimes we call it semi-canon, but I don't know. This felt right to me. This felt like a really good story, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And what's Vader going to do with that handmaiden? I don't want to know. But I hope he doesn't punish her. He's definitely going to try to get some information, which will be interesting. So, guys, now I know you guys listening, I'm sure you did check out the latest issue of Star Wars Clone Wars, the final season, Together Again. Is that the title? That's close enough.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. We find our, 3 familiar characters, the Rafa sisters.
Martez sisters.
The Martez. Rafa is one of the characters.
Yeah.
The Martez sisters and Ahsoka, in prison still with the Pike Syndicate. And y'all have seen the episode. I don't want to summarize it too much. But, Luke, I want to start with you. What'd you think about this latest episode? Are we getting... Is it getting a little more heavy now, or we're getting closer to that final arc? Are you feeling it build?
Oh yeah, we got the first appearance of the big Kahuna.
Ooh, I like that.
Maul is probably one of the best parts of Clone Wars. The fact that they brought him back, and some of the episodes with him, in earlier seasons, are some of the most dramatic and intense Star Wars around. So plus Sam Witwer does an amazing job doing the voice acting for Maul, so it's great to have him back in a substantial scene, and it lets us, it's the bridge to the next and final arc of the season. That I listened to an interview with Ashley Eckstein on Rebel Force Radio, and she was like that the last 4 episodes, the last arc is just going to blow everyone away, is what she said. So it's really exciting that we're on the precipice now, and about to go into that, and to see Maul, and knowing that we're going to deal with Maul and Mandalore, as we saw, Bo-Katan and some Mandalorians again in this episode. It's all, whetting the appetite, getting us really hungry for these next 4, and hopefully to get us through a good portion of the quarantine, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. And that it was a bit of just a tease of what's to come, with Maul sensing Ahsoka's presence through the hologram.
I thought that was really cool.
Right?
As soon as that happened, I was like...
You just seemed kind of flinch, and you're like, oh, snaps, he senses her.
Well, yeah. I was like... He's gonna know that she's there because she was eavesdropping on them, right? And then he just turns and looks at where she was standing.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang.
It was so effective. It was such a brief moment. It was a really great way to bring Maul into things, and to frankly, this is, he tells the Pikes there, hey, if you're gonna fail me again, then Crimson Dawn would be more than happy to come in and take your place. And that's the earliest reference we hear of Crimson Dawn. So they seem like they're the smaller of the syndicates, the up and coming, group that is looking to make a statement. And that kind of makes a little sense now why Dryden doesn't mess around with people, and takes no chances, and is quick to judge. So it's making a little more sense now. But it was such an effective moment, and something that I love, Holly. We were watching Rebels. You're finally in season 4.
Oh my God, yeah!
Thank goodness, Luke. We watched Twin Sons, one of the best episodes of Rebels, and of course, Spoiler alert for anyone listening: if you haven't finished Rebels, it's going to be spoiled here for you. Or if you haven't finished season 3, I should say, Rebels, it's going to be spoiled. So at the final confrontation of Obi-Wan and Maul, of course I went, frame by frame and showed Holly exactly what was transpiring in this few seconds of battle. And it was beautiful, right, Holly? I mean, it was such a great summary.
Very well done.
And Holly just says, man, I really just want to see what really led Maul to this point. And I said, well, Holly, then we need to go back in time and watch all of the Clone Wars, because that story is there, and I can't wait. We're going to get back into it once we finish Rebels and, get caught up to season 7. So you've gotten some of it already, but so there's a lot of story there to be told. Holly, what did you think of the latest episode? Are you starting to get to that point where you're just like, I can see it's difficult to come into it at season 7. I totally get that.
I kind of feel like I'm jumping around a lot, and since I'm finishing up Rebels and now finishing up the Clone Wars at the same time, I am finding myself like watching both on the same day, and then I'm like, wait, was that Rebels? Was that Clone Wars? Now I'm confused.
Same.
Everything's blending together. I do have to say, I still don't think that Clone Wars is my favorite thing, and I do have a hard time just like feeling all in when I'm watching it, but I am starting to be more interested. I think that this last episode that came out on Friday like really like captured my attention more than the other ones did. So I think that it is starting to pull me in.
It will. Yeah, there's a little more depth now, because you were coming in and just what is the purpose of this, and now we're starting to understand where we're going and this final arc. But I'll be honest, like the Clone Wars is great. There's some not so great moments, but folks need to remember Clone Wars was introduced in a time where we didn't think we were getting any more Star Wars ever. And so, okay, we need to embrace this cartoon, and it's the only Star Wars we're going to get for, whatever we're going to get in the future. George wanted to do some more animated stuff, so okay, let's get on board with this. And it was a rocky start, especially with the movie not being so great and people not really liking Ahsoka, but that people latched onto it. And so you got to remember the times that it was released. That always has an effect. Is this the only Star Wars right now? Let's latch on to it. But, Rebels came at a time where we were getting more stuff, Rebels took a break for Rogue One to be released. So that's where, the timeline for you. It was, things were happening already with the sequel trilogy too. So people love, it's a great, series, of course, but, that's all people had back then.
I think something that I really liked about this episode of the Clone Wars is that you really start to see like Ahsoka being true to herself, because I kind of feel you saw her in this arc, you see her be a little bit lost in the beginning, and she's trying to pretend she's not a Jedi and make these friends and still do to her what she believes to be the right thing. Yeah. But she doesn't really do the right thing because she doesn't want to reveal herself as, being or previously having been a Jedi, I guess to say. And then she's just kind of scared of the way that the Martez sisters are going to react to that, right? So she tries to get them away so then she can actually do something with her powers, the force that she has. But ultimately they end up finding out who she is. And I think that is another eye-opening. I think this whole arc, you've seen her have all these eye-opening experiences, but none of them have been really like about people. It's been more about the Jedi Order, right? Yeah. And now you have her having this experience with people where, they had previously spoken poorly of the Jedi, right? And now they're like, you are the Jedi that like we would like to see. And I kind of feel like she wasn't anticipating them to respond to her that way. And I think that was kind of a cool interaction to kind of see her, be true to herself and do the right thing, and then have someone respond to her in a way that supports that, even though she wasn't expecting it. And I think that was a really good message. Yeah, absolutely. And it's not all, roses after this episode. It leaves you on a good note of just like, she's a little hesitant because we'll just jump into the end, to go with the Mandalorians to Mandalore to get into this fight. She knows what it's going to lead to, and it's going to lead back and getting back into the, maybe not necessarily joining the Jedi, but saying, I got to take up the cause again
end this and to defeat Maul, and help the Mandalorians along the way. So Luke, am I wrong in that, like, this isn't just a fairy tale ending for her? Because later on in the Ahsoka novel, I mean, she grapples with a lot of, it feels like the same sentiment of she's not embracing her power. She's still hiding them from people. This isn't like an aha moment of, wow, people will love what I am and who I've become. Something's going to happen on Mandalore in this final arc. I feel whatever it's going to be, it's going to be bigger than what we've seen ever with Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think by the time of the Ahsoka novel, it's slightly different because that's post Order 66. So it's more about just self-preservation and not be outed as a Jedi.
True.
Here, it was interesting to me. I think she just doesn't want to move through the world as a Jedi so much anymore. Like, she's trying to start her new life, figure out who she is outside of the Order, because that's for so long what she's been. And then obviously I think she really doesn't want to reveal it to the Martez sisters once she learns their past with their parents and how they feel about the Jedi. So she doesn't want to have them, put all those bad feelings onto her, which they almost eventually do anyways. But yeah, it's she knows that if she goes to Mandalore and gets involved with this, that it could, lead her back to contact with the Order, more directly the Republic, who's dealing with, the war all over the galaxy, which we know we have to get, another discussion, another meeting between her and Anakin. And that is going to be really intense.
Yeah.
Presumably the last time they're together until the big confrontation we see in Rebels, which is really beautifully and powerfully done. Yeah. So that's going to be a wonderful, intense moment, or a couple of moments we're going to get in these upcoming episodes when she does get, it's interesting that the story is kind of, she tries to break away and say, no, I'm moving on from the Order and I'm establishing my own way. But like the Force is like drawing her back into the events of the galaxy. And she can't quite escape it.
It's a great point that, she leaving Anakin was hard enough, and you think about, her walking from the Order, and that was their last interaction, and then you have her confronting Vader in Rebels and knowing that's my former master. Yeah, I mean, how are they going to leave? What are the terms going to be like now? Is it going to be, I can't wait to catch up more, and my God, what's the future going to bring us? And there's these good thoughts maybe, or things get even deeper for them, and then that next confrontation is her and Vader. Like, I can't imagine where we're going with this, and if Ashley Eckstein and Sam Witwer are saying this is some of the best Star Wars story that they've ever received, then I'm looking forward to it, and just, more Ahsoka. It's going to be awesome. Anything else about this episode that really sticks out, Holly?
Yeah, I just think, I guess coming back to the general themes of the episode, I forget what the beginning statement was.
You don't have to be afraid of who you were.
No, it's like you can't run. I don't know. I'm not going to try to repeat it because I don't know what it is. But it was something like you can't run from yourself.
Yeah.
Or like you can run from yourself, but you can't escape yourself. Something like that.
Yeah, you can change who you are, but you cannot run from yourself.
Yes.
See? And so I think that this is something that's common. I mean, we even see it, all throughout each Star Wars trilogy that comes out, you see these Jedi struggling with their identity and struggling with how do I do the right thing and how do I make the right decisions, and like so much depends on, like, the outcome of the galaxy depends on the decisions that I'm making right now. And it doesn't really matter, like Luke said, the Force just pulls you back in. It doesn't really matter how hard you try to get away from that. And I feel like it almost...
This is a Linkin Park song?
Yes.
Okay,
it almost
second.
seems like it's like a little bit selfish to have this power and have this responsibility and try to walk away from using it to do good and to fight this evil that's coming in. And I feel like the themes that we're seeing is it doesn't really matter because you can't walk away from it because you know that your responsibility is to try to do the right thing. And right now that is having this fight and trying to win this war.
And that's a great message to kids, right? Like, I mean, if you're, you know, fortunate enough to be, you know, have abilities in this show, but, you know, are fortunate enough to be, you know, doing whatever, like, it's an obligation to step in and to help where you can. It's
use your platform that you have to do the things that need to be done.
Be a force for good.
Right.
Ollie.
That's right, Mike.
That's what Star Wars is all about.
But I really like that theme in this because I feel like it's something that we see all through Star Wars where it's kind of like that, I'm going to give up. I'm just going to walk away. I don't want this responsibility anymore.
It's
but
a similar story of Luke Skywalker, right?
And then
I'd love to help, you know, the rebellion, but
sorry.
my aunt and uncle are going to be pissed. I got motivators to fix. Like but it compels you, you know, things happen. The universe unfolds as it should, and those who are destined to step up, they will.
And it's not even the Jedi, right? I mean, if we're gonna talk about, you know, the standalone films, we see that in Rogue One. We have that interaction between Cassian and Jyn Erso, where he's like, "I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. Like, you're not the only one who's lost."
Wow,
anything.
that sounds like a trivia question, Holly. Ooh. That might be a hint to our competitors here. We'll see.
But yeah, I like that theme that is there. So
you're absolutely right. It's in all Star Wars and even the animated series. It's fantastic. Things are gonna get deep, phrasing, but it's I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. This whole arc has felt a little filler, but I like the moments we find, like, Ahsoka's so much more enlightened after having this experience with them, right? Like, you know, she's in the Pike Syndicate doing some good, but she understands people so much more, and I think that's something that was really lacking for her, and that's what's going to make her a good asset to the rebellion later on. She's had these experiences, and she didn't get that at a young age being in the Jedi Order. Like, she missed out on a lot of interactions, and she herself probably would have handled a situation similar to that Jedi who approached the Martez sisters and just said, "Hey, the Force will be with you. Sorry about your parents." Like, that probably would have been how she would have handled interactions like that. But it's these experiences that are showing there's much more than just, you know, defeating the enemy. There's lives at stake. There's much more people that are going to be affected by this, and it makes her very compassionate. And you see that in the Ahsoka novel too. She goes out of her way to protect strangers.
And I feel like if you are a Jedi and you don't really have empathy for people who are being affected by this, what's the difference between you and the dark side then? I feel like there's a fine line there, and if you're lacking that empathy, I mean, feet are on both sides.
She had a lot of issues with the Order when she left. I mean, right? They didn't trust her, and a lot of this stuff. But there's, you know, the Jedi quickly become soldiers, and lead this war, and it's not what people were expecting. So it's great. I freaking love it. It's so good, and I cannot wait until we get these final 4 episodes, right?
The final 4.
I mean, I hope this is there's no more, you know, there's no more Martez sisters. I mean, they were cool, but, like, let's go. Let's get some more Maul. Let's, you know, I'm done with the Pike Syndicate. Let's get to Mandalore. We've got Bo-Katan, and I love the interaction. We have a common enemy, and let's go. Let's go fight Maul. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Anything else, guys, on Clone Wars?
I would say it'd be interesting to see how they retroactively add some of the newer canon back in, because we know these were originally developed, a while back, years ago. Yeah, and they finally got finished and fleshed out, and they're peppering in some canon that developed more recently. So, you know, making Maul talk about Crimson Dawn in this episode is, you know, a piece of canon from Solo pulled in. Yeah. And so what I'm really intrigued about is in these final 4 episodes, we go back to Mandalore. Yeah. What tie in to the Mandalorian series might we get that Dave Filoni didn't have in the original scripts for these episodes years ago.
Yep.
But then was able to work in to the story now that we're coming back to it and finishing this series, this season, in this new era, this new Disney era. That is a really intriguing possibility if we could see what other connections there might be like that.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head last week talking about the armor. Like, was insanely familiar, that voice. So could that be a tie-in? I don't know. We don't really know who those Mandalorians are. I mean, Bo-Katan took her helmet off, but we have no idea who the others are. So it definitely feels like it's going to be connected.
I just think it's fun that now we're at the point where we are looking for those Easter eggs in the new canon, because I feel like we spent so long being like, okay, here's this new movie. Like, what can we see from the original trilogy in it? Like, what, like,
absolutely.
What callbacks can we get here? But now we're kind of getting into the overlap with the newer material that's come out. And I like that. I think that's been kind of fun.
Yeah. And also, where's Gideon right now? Our villain of Mandalorian. Often they're, Tarkin was a part of the Republic. He was in the Republic Army, and so like, what's Gideon doing right now? Will we see him at all? I don't know.
He's searching for that dark saber.
I don't know. Is he going to earn it? Is it just going to fall into his hands? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting. So we might not get all the answered here, but who knows? Maybe we will in 4 episodes. But anything else, guys? Star Wars on the mind? Or Fixer Upper? Any commentary on Chip and Joanna Gaines?
Chip
Go
and
Hannah.
Go. Well, I mean, that's fitting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you're getting your fix of Star Wars content. Because come in the Clone Wars, I mean, production on a lot of stuff is halted right now.
I mean, I just hope that everyone is rewatching or finishing Rebels like I am, because when I'm done with it, I'm ready to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. Might be some Patreon exclusive stuff.
I'm probably not going to stop talking about it.
Probably not. But what you're also going to continue reading canon novels, right?
That's true. I'm reading Bloodline right now, as is the rest of the book club.
Yeah.
I'm 3 chapters in.
Do we have a date yet?
No, not yet.
So just keep reading, everyone.
Yeah. So about the book club, I know that right now, if you don't have the book, it's a hard time to get the book. And so I definitely want to make sure that if anybody who wants to read it and kind of like read it along with the book club and then listen to the episode when it comes out, I want to make sure that people have time to order it if they're not going to get like the ebook or the audiobook.
Definitely.
So it will probably be maybe like early or mid-May when we have the conversation, just because I want to give everyone time to get the book and read it.
Definitely.
So that's kind of where I'm thinking of the timeline of the book club conversation.
And it's cool because the book's been out for a while, so a lot of people have already picked it up. What they remember, they can contribute. But I think that's very kind of you, Holly.
Thank you.
Very kind.
Always thinking about the people.
It's very Star Wars of you. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll set a date here soon, guys. Yeah, I really don't have anything else. Kind of slow Star Wars stuff, but I'm going to keep reading those Vader comics. We're probably going to read issue 2 next week and talk about that. I'm going back and reading the main line from the 2015 start, and I'm really enjoying that. Luke's probably already blown through that first line at this point, right, Luke?
Well, I took a little break from the main line to kind of catch up on some of the others. I've been really enjoying Poe Dameron and Dr. Aphra as well.
Let's go.
And I'm on that second Vader line, so I'm doing a little bit of everything, and yeah, it's really enjoyable.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, God, there's new Aphra stuff out now. It's hard to keep up with that stuff if you're really digging into the new canon stuff. There's also a continuation of the Alphabet Squadron, right, with Shadow's Fall. If I'm recalling, we have an excerpt from that. We'll probably be digging into that here soon. So that's our next novel,
you
I
read
think, being
Alphabet
released.
Squadron?
I haven't finished it.
You're listening
Are you
to
calling
it right
me
now.
out?
No, I'm asking.
Well, here's the thing. I've read half of it, a long time ago, forgot it. Started listening to the audiobook on my way to do some yard work at my madre's, and couldn't pay attention to anything that was happening. Just zoomed out the whole time, zoned out, zoomed out.
All of the above.
It's all the above. When you're dehydrated and exhausted, you tend to zone out.
Or zoom out.
Or zoom out, whatever.
Zoom.
That works. Yeah, was that a Hyundai thing?
It's
reference?
Mazda.
Mazda, whatever. So, yeah, I need to catch up on that because I'd love to read, Shadows Fall when it comes out. So, super excited for that.
When is that coming out? Do we know? Do we have a date?
Probably a month.
I've got a date. It's in the next couple months. There's several coming out.
Oh, God.
I've got the list right here. Hold on a sec. May, Queen's Peril, which is the prequel to Queen's Shadow.
Ooh, it's a prequel. Okay.
Yeah, it actually takes place before Queen's Shadow. It takes place before Phantom Menace even. I think it's when she's getting elected as queen.
Okay.
Naboo. And there's a new Thrawn book, which is also a prequel to the Thrawn series.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take place when he was still with the Chiss. That's also a release date in May. I don't know if any of these have been moved with everything going on.
Yeah.
But and then June is Shadow Fall. Or I have it on my list of Shadow Fail, but it's probably a typo.
Oh, no, it may
Shadow Fail.
So there's definitely some novels coming out, and I know the production for the Disney Plus stuff has been postponed. So
Yeah, that's concerning.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, it was going to happen with everything that's going on. I mean, you imagine actors also have to social distance.
Oh, absolutely.
I did hear that Diego Luna's children just recovered from the coronavirus.
That's too bad.
But he said in an interview that they're recovering.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's good. But it's affecting everybody
Absolutely.
and everything. It does not discriminate. So,
That's right. Yeah, there's one example of it not doing so. So take it seriously, guys. We are here, and as soon as it's all said and done, and I have that thermometer that I can, test people as they come into my house, we'll get back to doing in-person podcasts and having book club in person and get back to that exciting stuff and just that camaraderie. It's going to be nice. As much as, being shut in with the lovely Holly is fantastic. We are yearning for interaction.
Yes.
So we'll definitely be doing that soon. But
we'll get Luke in here to
that's right.
play a little, Battlefront? What did you want him? What were you guys going to stream?
Well, I wasn't going to show you how to play Empire at War.
Oh.
But we're going to get Luke in here. He's going to play Jedi Fallen Order and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think an epic Empire at War battle, I mean, whoever we're playing, it would be
What is
sensational. It's role playing. It's freaking awesome. I'll show you. It's
Okay.
fantastic. And guys, I will tell you this coming Saturday, we will be filming the first of the new era of Trivia Trials with Brent and Jory. I'm super excited for this.
Very exciting.
Trivia Trials it's meant to be entertaining, Holly, but it can get competitive. It really can. You're going to get some softball questions. That's just going to happen. I'm going to build you up. I'm going to build your confidence to just tear you back down with a deep and sweaty question. Luke's been there before. He just, tended to ace all the questions because he's just that good.
That's the dark side of Michael coming out.
That's right. No, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. So study up, Jory and Brent, if you're listening. We will be filming that, like I said, this weekend. That'll be coming to you guys soon. But Trivia Trials tend to have a lot of post-production work. So that'll take me a little bit of time. So we are doing that, guys. Expect that soon. And yeah, keep enjoying Star Wars wherever you can. And if you enjoy what you're hearing here, hit us up on Facebook. Give us a review on Facebook. Holly, did you know that's a thing? People can go review our page. That's awesome. Go do that. If you haven't already, go. Well, no one has, because I just found that out the other day. If you can't, guys, go on Facebook. Give this podcast a review. Let us know what you think. Go on Apple Podcasts and give that a 5-star review. If you like it, let us know.
Go watch my stories that I post on the Flying Casual Insta.
Those are really good stories. They entertain me, too. Like, I enjoy it because I have no idea that you're doing it. I'm like, that's really funny. So nice work, Holly.
Thank you.
Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook. Go check out the YouTube. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. I'm trying to take nice short clips of really great discussion we have, drive a little more traffic to the podcast. And if you want to just watch 10 to 15 minutes of something we're discussing, go check that out there too. You're definitely going to want to see Trivia Trials on YouTube. I'm
For sure.
tell you that right now. There's going to be some good entertainment value there. So when that comes out, guys, we'll let you know. Check that out there. But hit us up. Send us an email. Send us a YouTube comment. You could mail us something.
Send us a message by Space Whale.
But hold the toilet paper because, guys, I did find 18 rolls. So rest assured, we're good for a while. See you next week.